Now we're going to look at some multiplication strategies that you can do in your head. So mental computation. And remember, because we're writing down these mental strategies on paper, it's going to look weird. Remember, this is what you would do if you were trying to multiply in your head in a pinch. Let's say you didn't have a calculator and you didn't have anything to write with. So if you were going to do 64 times 5, it actually is easier if you start on the front end. So front end means that you're going to go from left to right instead of starting with the ones place. So what people try to do in their head is the standard algorithm, and that's why people can't do it in their head, because that's like our brains just don't work that way. So you want to go big to small. So to do 64 times 5, we're going to start by doing 60 times 5. 60 times 5 is 300. And then we're going to do 4 times 5, and that's 20. And then you just add these two together, 320. Let's try one. See if we can do it. Now I'm going to write some stuff down because this is your notes. We got to write stuff down. Okay, so this one is really 100. 100 times 8 is 800. So in my head, I would go, okay, that's 800. And then 30 times 8 is 240. So I'm like, okay, I've got 800, I've got 240, that would be 1,040, and then 5 times 8 is 40. And if I add those together, this is 1,080. Again, pretend you're just doing it in your head. I'm just writing this down so you have something to follow when you're studying. But it would be 1,080 without having to do a whole lot of math. So it'd be 800 plus 240, so it'd be 1,040 plus another 40, 1,080. That's easier to do in your head than trying to do the standard algorithm and like scooching over a place value and all this kind of stuff. So that's called front end multiplying. Then we also have what's called compatible numbers. So what are some compatible numbers? Well, numbers that would multiply to be like 10 or 100 or 1,000, something like that. So you see how these are all multiplied together? Well, multiplication is commutative. I don't have to multiply them in that order. I can multiply them in any order I want to. And you know what? I think 2 and 5 are nice and compatible. So I'm going to multiply those first. And then 25 and 4. Well, you know what? 25 and 4 are pretty compatible also. 2 times 5 is 10. 25 times 4, well, that's 100. 4 quarters, right? That's 100. And 10 times 100, that's easy to do in your head. You see how you have 1 0 and then 2 zeros? The answer has 3 zeros. So if you just change up the order, like if I was multiplying this in my head, I would go, well, this is 10 and that's 100. 10 times 100 is 1,000. And there I just did it in my head. So this is not distributing. This is me changing up the order like in my head, not writing it down. 2 times 5 would be 10, 25 times 4 is your 100, right? So that's how you could use compatible numbers. Multiply the order that you want, not necessarily in the order that they give you, and try to find numbers that multiply to be tens and hundreds. Another way you can do this is you can think about this in terms of money. This works for some people. For me personally, my brain doesn't work this way. My brain kind of does one of these other methods, but maybe this money way will work for you. So if you wanted to do 18 times 5, what we know in the world of money, nickels are worth 5 cents, right? So this is like having 18 nickels. Well, if you have 18 nickels, that's the same as having 9 dimes, because there's 2 nickels make a dime. So I divided by 2. So 18 nickels is 9 dimes, and 9 dimes is the same thing as 90 cents. So 18 times 5 is 90. You're trying to change it into cents. We're not messing with decimals or anything here, just whole numbers. So 18 nickels is the same as 9 dimes, which would be 90 cents. Let's try another one. 24 times 5, that's like 24 nickels. Well, if you have 24 nickels, you have 12 dimes. And dimes are 10 cents, so 12 times 10, that's 120. And I didn't need a calculator. I just needed to think about it in terms of money. So 24 times 5 is 120. 12 times 50. Well, 50 cents, they do make half dollars. I don't know if you've ever seen one, but they do make them. They're pretty rare. But 12 half dollars would be the same as 6 whole dollars, right? If you have 12 half dollars, that's 6 regular dollars, which would be 600 cents. So without having to do any math in my head and just thinking about money, 12 times 50 would be 600. So that's some mental strategies if you think they might be helpful.